Welcome to AEW Collision. Now, I gotta say this. I wasn't sure how to feel about the show. Wasn't. Like for the opening, for the commentary, and the way the show looked. But since it's not the second time I'm watching it, I can tell you this. I still have some of the same worries, but the opening music has grown on me. I can understand why people thought of it as like Saturday night main event, something special. And I agree with that. Nas McGuinness, I do love as a commentator, but his partner I'm still not feeling. Now understand he's from New Japan Pro Wrestling and their branch, but I just don't feel him. I still feel like maybe a Mark Henry or a Paul White might be a more interesting fit in that situation instead of the one they have there for Kevin. And I just feel that. But it doesn't mean he couldn't still grow on me. And I will say, being that this is the last show before we get to Forbidden Door, this was good. Now, was it great? No. But it was good. Let's do a little bit of a little matches here. One of the matches we got, let me give it to you like this. Tanahashi versus Strickland. I'm worried. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm sure that JD and Jess Alex are going to say that Tanahashi did great. The Ace did wonderful. And I'm not burying the guy. I'm not. But if you watch the match for what it was, you see a 46. I had to look up his age while I was watching it. I had to find out what Tanahashi's age was. I believe I'm pronouncing his name correctly. The guy is 46 years old. He's 7 years younger than me. And he's walking like he's older than me. I'm sorry. I am not against him. He does have a character that I like. He has a personality while he's in the ring with the air guitar that is interesting. It's not like he doesn't know how to work a match. It's obvious he does. When you see him against Swerve comparing their physicality, it's psychology I'm talking about. You can see Tanahashi's got it. But I'm sorry. When you look at Tanahashi's physical aptitude in the ring, it is badly diminished. He just does not look like he can work very well in the ring. It's shocking that someone who's worked from the early 2000s, bringing back New Japan Pro Wrestling to prominence, as they said, he's worn himself out a lot. And it is obvious he has. And I'm not against the guy. He can work a match if it's done correctly. But you wouldn't put him against Swerve Strickland, a high-pass, high-speed wrestler. And you can see Tanahashi could not keep up with him. He did not look good. He needed to go up against a wrestler that can work to his strengths, not work to his own. And I've always said this about Swerve. He's great on the mic. He's a good aerial wrestler. But he does not put people over correctly. I do believe that. Or he doesn't want to put someone over. When he's with someone as fast as him, he has to decide if it comes down to that. Either I got to put him over, or I got to try and put him over. And Tanahashi is not built for that. He just did not look good. Now, after the match was over and he did win, you have MJF coming on the Titantron and made it very clear. I wanted to say this right now, and I'm not going for word. He says, I didn't want to be there. I don't want to have to play to that stupid crowd. But he made it clear on Forbidden Door, he's opening the show. He wants to get it over as quickly as possible because he doesn't want to stay there. That made me realize I was right. Guys, if you think that this is going to be an opening match, that's going to be great. I will say, for the most part, you will be correct. But there's a reason why it's the opening match. Because of what I just saw in the ring with Tanahashi. Tanahashi cannot close the show. Not because the ace isn't still great with psychology in the ring. Not that he doesn't have charisma. Not that he can't be interesting. The guy can speak English because he did speak at the Swerve. He is charismatic. But he can't go in the ring anymore. And I'm saying it in the respect of going incredibly fast-paced. I'm telling you this. If it's a slower, methodical match, he could do it. And I do believe he'll do it great. But as a fast-paced wrestler, he is not anymore. The guy is having problems just walking to the ring. You can see the back problems are showing. Look at Kurt Angle. The guy had to have double knee surgery and certain sections, I believe, of his back was an issue next to his neck. He was always crunched like this. He never could 100% straighten himself out. Tanahashi's showing that. So I had to say this. If anybody says you don't understand Tanahashi, I do. I may not watch the guy, but I can tell from how a wrestler has been broken down, he's messed up. And he can't do a heavy, fast-paced match with MJF. So that's why they're opening it. That's my perspective. Second, Brody King versus Andrade El Ilios. Now, Andrade was sellotaped on his shoulder. And I can tell you this. Being his second match back after 280 days, it didn't show that much. But I know there's going to be people who are going to say, dude, I don't know why people like Andrade El Ilios. He just sucks in the ring. Or he's just one-dimensional. Or he's just Ric Flair's son-in-law while his wife, he's copying his wife by doing the figure eight and he can't even do it correctly because he's not as flexible as Charlotte. And I'm going to tell you this. When it comes down to it, what do you have in front of you? You have a good luchador that has decided to take bits and pieces of his father-in-law and his wife and smush it together. I'm sure he's been working on his English with his wife, and I'm sure that with time we will see something more. But is he an incredibly great wrestler? He's good. Is he a great character? Don't know yet. As a heel, he's not doing that well. I mean, not a heel. Let me take that back. When he was being a heel, when he was with Zelina Vega, he was good. When he was in AEW as a heel, it was so-so. As a face, he ain't doing it for me. And that's the reason why I'm botching it, because I don't want to sound like I hate him, but I got to show that when he's done correctly as a heel, he gets over. But when he's not, it shows. As a face, the same thing. He's by himself. He doesn't have Zelina Vega. He doesn't have Roosh. He doesn't have Vaughn. He doesn't have, who I believe his name, Jose. He's got nobody. He's by himself, and he doesn't look good. But does that mean he can't get over still? He can, but he needs to be restructured. I'm moving on. Next, Nia Rose versus Willow Nightingale. Now, this is a quarterfinal match. And, let me give it to you like this. Unlike Andrade's match, where it was DQ'd by Buddy Matthews, we didn't get that here. Yes, we did get the Outcast coming out later after the match is over, but it was just Nia and the Willow. I'm going to tell you this. Was that a hard-hitting match? Hell yes, it was. And it's good to see that Willow's so strong that she can easily match with a Nia Rose. It's obvious she can. And she did a decent job with Nia. But here's the question I pose you. What do we really get from the New Japan Pro Strong Women's Champion? There's the problem. We have the New Japan Pro Strong Champion on probably Dynamite, Rampage, Collision, and ROH. She's appeared on now all of them. But does that give us something special, like a title defense of that title on Dynamite, Rampage, Collision, or ROH? I don't know. And there's the problem. You now have another title. Remember, we had the TBS title that had Jade Cargill covered all over it, holding it like crazy for more than a year. And the key here is that when she finally reached a plateau with that title, it was time for her to drop it, and then they did finally with Statlander. Here, I don't think she's dropping the title until pretty much the owners of New Japan Pro Wrestling decide she's going to drop it. So if we keep seeing her on Dynamite, Rampage, Collision, and ROH, it makes you think, what do we really get from the New Japan Pro Strong Champion? Nothing. Now, mind you, she is going up against Toni Storm at Forbidden Door. But what does that really give us? Does that mean they may let her, if it's a title defense for Toni Storm, does that mean that if Willow did win, she's going to hold the Strong title and the AEW mainline title? Does that mean what? Does that mean she's going to go to Strong with the AEW title? And would she defend it on AEW TV, which she hasn't yet as far as I know? It feels like they need to rectify this when it comes to her that damn title. They need to either let her defend it on AEW TV, or they need to make her not be seen with it and let her win maybe the TBS title or the world title. They need to do something with her. As a rival champion of a rival company, I can see if they do a story with her, but they're not doing a story where New Japan is up against AEW. It's not like Toni Storm is trying to defend the rights of AEW or saying that AEW is better than New Japan Pro Wrestling or New Japan Pro Strong. We don't get that. So, and then you get Sky Blue coming out, who I do like, but it's missing something. I'm just saying. Powerhouse Hobbs destroys Prophet. I believe his name is Jeremy Prophet. I'm sure the prophecy he had was that I'd last more than 5 minutes, and he kept his prophecy because he lasted about 5 minutes before he was completely annihilated by Hobbs. Done. Now, let's talk about the bits here we got in... What did we get with the JS? And here's the thing. They opened the show with Tony Schiavone, even though Tony was asking for Darby Allin and Sting. They opened it. They wanted to know who was the partner of Sting and Allin. And it's Nakadora. Wait a minute. What is the guy's name? Nakado? Maybe Nakado, I believe. What is the guy? Tasio Nakado. I believe that's his name, and I'm probably mispronouncing it, and I know I'm bad with names, so I'm mispronouncing it. I'm sorry. I've just never been great with names. But he's the one that was found out to be the one that they're going to be having as a partner, and he's the one who managed to get the IC title away from a Chris Jericho. Interesting. I don't know if he's great. I don't know if he's good. He's swanky. He's like Tanahashi as one of the pillars of New Japan Pro Wrestling in the early to mid 2000s, along with Shinsuke Nakamura. They didn't mention him. They had to. So I do not know if he's great or not. He's swanky the way he was wearing all white coming down to the ring, and I will say it looked good, but I do not know if this is going to be a great match or good match. If he's like Tanahashi, where he's maybe nearing 50 or pushed 50 already, and pretty much he's not like a Billy Gunn. He's not like Ima Ishii, because Ima Ishii still looks pretty good in the ring. And Miyu Suzuki doesn't look bad in the ring either. Yes, they're both slower wrestlers due to the fact of their age, but due to the fact they're both hardcore wrestlers that basically will rip your skin apart by just chopping you. They don't need to move fast. But this guy, I don't know. He could be ending up like Tanahashi because he just can't go fast anymore. You could see it. He's just not able to do it. He's too stiff because His body's been worn down. He's had probably more than a few surgeries. He probably has a problem with his back. He just can't go fast anymore. He has to have a more slow, methodical type of match, not a high, fast-paced one. And that's the thing I don't know about in Japan when it comes to Tanahashi and New Japan Pro Wrestling. If he still does high, fast-paced matches going that speed, the people will respect him so much they don't care he can't do it. But for me personally, as someone who has to be honest when it comes to Tanahashi, he can't do fast-paced matches anymore. He needs to be more a methodical wrestler. I'm just saying. We get Miro, the Redeemer, talking about his God. His God said, you must come back and you must win. And he says, I think of it, and I agree I must come back to win. But I will not be with my God. I will give up everything, my God, my sexy wife, and everything to become champion as a Redeemer. Miro's Miro. I love Miro. But here's the thing. They need to love Miro. That means Tony and whoever's booking with him need to love Miro and book him great. The question is, will they? Now that he's going to hopefully do more work on Collision than Dynamite or Rampage, that's going to be the big question. I don't think he's ever going to be much on ROH, but keep him on Collision the majority of the time. That's where I do believe he needs to be, because he needs to have his own place where he doesn't have to worry about being congested with everybody else. Now, the vid pack for the Owen Hart tournament for the men, it was done well. Strickland spoke, Hobbs spoke, Stark spoke, CM Punk spoke, and also people from New Japan Pro Wrestling also spoke. I think they spoke a little bit. At least one person, if I remember correctly. I am interested in seeing who's going to win this year's tournament. Now, they didn't have that much talk for the women. They got the tournament. That was pretty much a qualifier for a Nia Rose and a Willow Nightingale. So, they did have one for the men, and now they have one for the women. I'm just saying it needed to be done. Hopefully it'll be alright. Scorpio Sky had his interview. It was okay. Don't know how they're going to book him. And I don't know, even though he sounded good, does that going to translate into anything? And particularly where he's going to translate to. Is it going to be Dynamite or Collision? Even though they said he's going to be on Collision, are they going to show him more on Dynamite than Collision? Are they going to show him more on Rampage than Collision? Or is he just going to be exclusive to Collision, where they really need that? But that's just me, guys. Tell me below. Final match, the 8-man tag, FTR, Punk, and Starks versus the Guns, Jay White, and Rock Hard, Juice Robinson. Did you know Juice Robinson is Rock Hard? Yes, I know that's a bite off of JD. I know. JD is always making a joke about Juice Robinson. He says, Jesse, you know Juice Robinson. Do you know about Juice Robinson? Do you know he's Rock Hard? Stupid. Was it a good match? It was fine. In the end, the heels win and kind of even out, because the last situation when it came to CM Punk, where he got over, they kind of took it back. The thing was interesting. The crowd, when CM Punk came out, was split. You can hear them screaming on top of the lubs. You got a lot of people that were cheering for him, but even more that just hated his ass. Fine. You're getting a reaction. When you get no reaction, it's bad. Unless you're in Japan, where they're the type that wants you to build up into it, then they give you a reaction. But if you get no flat out reaction, or if you get a reaction that's not like about you, it's about throwing a beach ball in the crowd, that's bad. So he did have a reaction that was okay. But I do agree what JD and Jesse had said, that once he's away from Chicago, it's going to be a big question of how the fans are going to perceive him. This is going to be a big question, because a lot of people are still pissed off at what happened with the scrum and how he's reacted. So this is a big question. Me personally, he screwed up. I said that in my video about the scrum. He didn't act appropriate. But now I do believe he's acting appropriate. And I do believe what happened with the ESPN interview was sanctioned. It was allowed because they want to try and build up into the Bucks and Kenny eventually. That's what I do believe is going on here. That they're trying to build a story to build up to Kenny dealing with CM Punk, eventually Hangman Page dealing with CM Punk, the Bucks dealing with CM Punk, and probably FTR will be brought along. That's what I do believe is going to eventually happen. Now, if it doesn't, and it's his fault again, then we can say that Tony should have fired him. But I knew he wasn't going to get fired because I don't believe WWE wants to just... Let's be honest. Vince would take CM Punk back. Flat out. He will pay him anything to come back just to fuck with AEW and Tony Khan. It doesn't matter if he likes him or not. That's what's going to happen. With Vince, not Triple H. And if anybody says that Vince wasn't booking, it's already been reported for Friday Night SmackDown. It was booked by Vince. And the wrestlers in the back were frustrated. Let me give it to you like this about this show. It's okay. It wasn't bad. I didn't hate it. There are certain things I still don't understand completely, like when it comes to Christian. I was going to leave this for Dynamite, but why not just say this briefly about Christian? Seeing that he's taken possession of the TNT title, it's a question of how long Luchasaurus is going to take it. Because I do believe this might be a springboard to be on his own. That's what I think eventually will happen. I know I'm not talking about what he said. I'm not going to. But this is what I feel. I want to see how far they're going to go with this story where Christian is acting like this is his title, not Luchasaurus' title. And will Luchasaurus basically say, bitch, give me my fucking title. That's what I'm thinking. And this is my review, and I hope you enjoy Collision. Give me a comment below, and I will be doing Forbidden Door, unless with my allergies, which has been on and off really bad. Today is not that bad. But yesterday was horrid. I was sneezing my head off. I had a headache. I took my medicine. I just had a headache even more. Only thing I want to do is sleep. So hopefully, if my allergies is not killing me, I will be doing my Collision. I will be doing Forbidden Door. Peace.